Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you are joining. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Hayley and I review fragrances. So in today's video, I am going to be talking all about fragrances that I find truly addictive. These are the ones that when I wear them, I just have to keep smelling myself. They are totally addictive and they're in different scent profiles too. So there isn't too much of a common theme here, but these are just some of the fragrances in my collection that I find addictive. Wow. I have said the word addictive so many times, but you get the point. So if that's your type of thing, then please keep on watching. But before we get started on the video, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. It really helps my channel out and I would love to have you as part of this amazing fragrance community. So now that's out of the way, let's jump into the first fragrance. First up is Manakara by Indult. Now this was on my wish list for the longest time, but there was nowhere that sold this in the UK. There is now, by the way. But I purchased this blindly on eBay, and this is one of the best blind buys that I have ever purchased. It is the most addictive lychee and rose fragrance and my personal favorite lychee fragrance in my entire collection. The lychee is front stage and center. It's very juicy, almost a little bit watery, and then you have this really sugary sweet rose in here. It is almost a little bit simple in terms of the profile, but it is very, very addictive. This is one of the most feminine fragrances in my entire collection, and if you like lychee as a note, this is one I would definitely recommend sampling. It's a little bit musky too, but wow, this is so addictive. When I wear this one, I can't stop smelling myself, and that is when I know that I truly love a fragrance. So the first fragrance that I wanted to include in this list is Manakara by Indult. Next up is Ylang in Gold by Micallef. I feel like I haven't spoken about this in a while, but this is definitely one of my favorite tropical beachy fragrances in my entire collection. Totally addictive, of course, it's in this list. This in essence is yellow florals and vanilla. There's quite a lot of vanilla in here, but I wouldn't say it's a gourmand. I guess you could call it a floral gourmand, but it has this kind of banana vibe about it. There's no banana listed, instead it's got tropical fruits, but there is something so addictive about this fragrance. I took this one on honeymoon with me, and this was the one I wore the most on that vacation. And I'm just absolutely obsessed with it. I've described it before as smelling a little bit like a banana pina colada. That is the vibe I get. Yellow florals, vanilla, you've got sweetness, there's a little bit of fruitiness in there. And one thing to make you aware about with Ylang in Gold is there are teeny little micro glitter particles in here. So if you're just spraying it on one part of your clothing, it might leave you with a little bit of glitter. But when you spray this just on your skin, it leaves a really lovely shimmer. But that is not why I love it. I genuinely love this scent profile so much. It is super addictive and it will be forever a fragrance that I have in my collection. I do have the nectar version of this as well, which is a little bit stronger. Both are incredible, both are addictive, and yeah. It is very hot in the UK today and I'm struggling a little bit with filming. I can't have my fan on because it's too hot. So I'm trying to get through this, but it's rare for us to have high heat in the UK. I'm not complaining, but yeah, I am hot. Anyway, the next fragrance is Wavechild from Room 1015. Now this is the newest launch from the brand, and this type of scent profile is perfect for days like today when it is really hot and you want something to cut through that heat, and that is super addictive. In essence, this smells like watermelon candies mixed in with some really refreshing kind of juicy water. So I guess watermelon water. That probably doesn't sound that enticing, but this is delicious. It's very sweet, it's a little bit floral, and you get lots of watermelon. It is not the most complex scent, I will say that. Some of you may smell this and think, wow, Hayley, why do you find this one so addictive? But for those of you that have tried it thus far and have sent me your feedback, so many of you do love this fragrance too. If you are looking for a light, juicy watermelon fragrance that's sweet, that also has florals, it's super pretty, super uplifting, then I would recommend trying out Wavechild. There is something truly addictive about this scent profile, and I know I'm going to be reaching for this one a lot this summertime. Such a fantastic new release, and currently my favorite watermelon fragrance in my collection. Next up is a fragrance that's technically not launched yet, but it is so addictive and I wanted to share it with you prior to the launch. So this is the newest release from Sora. If you watch my channel, you will know I'm a big fan of Sora fragrances, and each one in the white bottle thus far have been absolute loves for me. This is called YLOP, I think that's how it's pronounced. The name is going to be on the screen. Oh, wow, wow, wow. This is truly, truly addictive. I've only had it a few days and I have worn it every day since. This is a juicy apricot style fragrance that's also quite nutty. It is a little bit gourmand, it is sweet, but it has this kind of freshness that cuts through some of the sweetness. And this is fantastic. This might be my favorite fragrance from Sora this far. We shall see about that, but at the moment I am really enamored by it. I think it is absolutely incredible. You do get lots of apricot, but then there's a really juicy apple note up top too. And it kind of has the feeling of Janny a little bit with the apple in here, kind of sweet and caramelized. But then you've got that apricot. You've also got a tea note. I love tea in fragrances. It has a slightly almondy / nutty vibe about it too. But the thing that cuts through some of that sweetness for me is there's a rosemary note in here, and it's subtle, but it cuts through a little bit and adds this tinsy bit of a herbal quality to it. You've also got a note of osmanthus, and osmanthus can smell like apricot too. So both of those notes together makes this really juicy, sweet and fruity. There's vanilla in the base too, and there's also a sesame note which adds to the nuttiness. So addictive. I'm wearing this one today. I know I've just sprayed Ylang in gold on me, but this is just so incredible. Lasts all day. Yes, apricot, apricot, apricot. I love it as a note. I am going to do a more in-depth review of this one nearer to the launch. I believe it launches on the 15th of July, but I just wanted to share this with you today because I am so addicted to it. So it was fitting to put it in this list. Next up is a new brand to the market. I have talked about this fragrance once before. I am so addicted to this one. It is called Blond Redhead and it's a new brand to the market called NEYDO. Their brand is built around olfactive dreams, which I think is so cool. You should definitely go to their website and read all about it. And Blond Redhead, it's just incredible. I wore this one to bed last night. It's not really a bedtime scent, but there is something so addictive about the scent profile. In essence, this is a floral gourmand. It is sweet and it's kind of a little bit heavy, but to me it smells like strawberry jam or strawberry cake with lots of vanilla and then some florals, specifically freesia. And it's kind of got this lightness in the freesia. It's kind of almost a little bit dewy, if that makes any sense. They're not heavy florals. It's like a strawberry sponge cake with whipped cream and then a little bit of a floral essence throughout the sponge, a little bit like when you put rose in bakery goods. I'm going off topic here a little bit. There is a note of dates in here as well. And the dates add this really rich sweetness. It's really delicious, super Moorish. So if you like the sound of an almost bakery style dessert perfume with some florals in, I would definitely recommend checking out Blond Redhead. Super unique. It has similar-ish vibes to Jardins de Misfa by Une Nuit Nomade, which is a fragrance I absolutely love. They still smell very different, but they're in a similar type of category. This one is more vanillic, and there's a lot of kind of a strawberry vibe about it, but totally addicted to this one. It's under £100, which I think is brilliant. Hopefully the shipping to the US gets a little bit cheaper. I know some of you went to check out this fragrance and you mentioned that the shipping cost to the US is really high. If you live in the EU, you will be fine. But if you live in the US, the shipping is high on this brand at the moment. But as I said, hopefully it will come down over time. But I would highly recommend checking out this fragrance if you like the sound of a strawberry sponge cake with whipped cream, which has got lots of vanilla in it, maybe some dates and some freesia. Yes, this one is, just gonna take a moment with this fragrance. Super addictive. Next up is Drunk Saffron by Borntostandout. Now, this is a fragrance I did not expect to love just because saffron can be really hit or miss for me. I am one of those people that sometimes get that rubbery vibe from saffron. So Rosendo Mateo's number 5, as an example, smells very rubbery to me, like burnt tires. But Drunk Saffron, this to me is incredibly unique, but it has this really addictive quality about it. I don't know how to describe it, but my husband said the same thing. He smelt it and he was like, this is really different. He was like, I think I love it. He was like, but there's something about it that's just a little bit challenging. And I totally agree with him. The opening of this is quite heavy on the saffron, and it does have a slight rubbery vibe. That's only if you get that rubbery vibe from saffron. Not everyone does. But I really love it in this, even in the opening. It is a little bit challenging. I'm probably not describing this fragrance well, and you're probably thinking, Hayley, why are you recommending this? But honestly, this is so addictive. So it is saffron, but it's a boozy saffron with lots of vanilla. Now, when the saffron dies down a little bit, this kind of smells a little bit like Dr. Pepper or Coca-Cola. It has that kind of vibe about it. If you've ever smelt Enigma by Roger, it's got that kind of vibe, but it's definitely sweeter. And then you have the saffron. There's a booziness as well, as I've mentioned, which is actually a cognac note. And then there's lots of plum in here. Oh, this is just incredible. The mixture of the saffron, the vanilla, the cognac and plum, I just absolutely love this one. Super, super addictive. It's not super heavy either. You would look at the notes and think this is going to be super heavy, but you could wear this one in the summertime too. It's still quite new to my collection, but I'm really addicted to it at the moment. Sometimes I will just walk into my perfume room, spray it on my hand and just smell it. And I'm really, really attracted to it for whatever reason. Please let me know if you have tried Drunk Saffron. Do you want an in-depth review of this one? But yeah, this just has an addictive quality that I can't stop smelling. Think Coca-Cola mixed with saffron. Add in some cognac to that Coca-Cola. It's really good. The next fragrance is Soie Malaquias by Dries van Noten. And this is just such an incredible fragrance. I absolutely adore this. It's a fragrance that I would class as a signature scent, although I don't wear it that often because I like to save this one for special occasions. I'm trying to stop myself from doing that because this is definitely one of my favorite fragrances in my entire collection. It's in my top 10 for life. This is Juicy Blackcurrant, Chestnut and Cacao. It has this really unique quality about it, yet at the same time, it almost has a mass appeal quality about it too. It's familiar, yet different, and on my skin this just blossoms, and it is the most incredible silky smooth, I can smell it already, silky smooth, fruity, chestnut cacao, blackcurrant, feminine, sexy. It's silky. I can see where the name came from. It has a silk note in here, and I have no idea what silk is supposed to smell like, probably nothing, but this is definitely silky smooth, blackcurrant, a slightly nutty, creamy chestnut, a dusting of cacao. One of the most spectacular fragrances I have personally put my nose on. I find this one so addictive, and it's one that I will forever love in my collection. It is more expensive, it's a luxurious fragrance, but it's one that I absolutely adore. So if you've not tried Soie Malaquias yet, I would highly recommend trying to get a sample of it. If I can find anywhere that samples it, I will link it down below. But yeah, Soie Malaquias is so addictive. So those were all of the fragrances that I wanted to showcase in today's video. Of course, I have a lot more fragrances in my collection that I find addictive, but these are the ones that I find the most addictive right now. I would love to know what fragrances that you've smelt or that you have in your collection that you find truly addictive. Please do share them with me in the comments. I'm hoping to find some new recommendations, but thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Thank you so much, and goodbye.